As you can see, I am once again on the road. I had a great night last night out here in Mercer County, talking to multiple patriot groups and a lot of really fantastic people that are in the fight. Appreciate the hospitality. Appreciate all the fantastic questions and the energy you guys are bringing to this thing out here. I can tell you there's a lot of organizing, again, a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm, and just a lot of folks that are completely committed. They're not going to be dissuaded. They're not going to quit. They're gonna continue until we have the inevitable victory. But what I wanted to do this morning, why I decided to jump on here real quick before I got to get back in the car yet again, is to update you guys on where we are with this whole Al Schmidt nomination. So for anybody that hasn't been following this, Al Schmidt is right now the acting Secretary of State for Pennsylvania. So he's in that position, but he has not been confirmed. He has not been officially accepted by the legislature. Okay, so just to review real quick, Al Schmidt, his resume is that he used to run elections in the city of Philadelphia, and most famously, after the 2020 election and the just stack of information about almost endless issues with the election, questions, for instance, about what appear to be 1,000 mules, folks stuffing drop boxes, all kinds of things. Al announced that these were free and fair elections. There were no issues, and then famously stood up, sort of grinning side by side with Governor Wolf to assure us that everything was good. There's nothing to see here. Move along. Okay, this guy is a Republican. Again, as I've said before, at this stage, I don't have a blessed idea what the heck that term is supposed to mean in this context. Anyway, Al, who brought us Philadelphia elections, as Secretary of State, will now be responsible for overseeing the integrity, air quotes there, folks, of elections statewide. So he can bring all of that Philadelphia magic to the entire Commonwealth for the 2024 elections. Again, he's sitting in this position in an acting capacity. His nomination is before the Pennsylvania Senate. The other day, the Republican-controlled committee headed by Chris Dush chopped off on this, approved it. Chris Dush said all sorts of complimentary things about Al Schmidt. The only person who had the guts to stand up and vote against the nomination was Doug Mastriano, predictably enough. Okay, so I went on here talking about this. A number of folks raised the alarm statewide. You guys out there began to fire up the phone lines, fire up email. And here's the good news. The PA Senate is on fire. There is an uproar. They heard you loud and clear. There is great consternation and gnashing of teeth, I can tell you, in the Senate, because, oh my God, they're watching and they see what's happening. So they are very upset. That's a good thing. And I would encourage you to continue to pour it on and let them know that you are not just going to stand by and pretend like this is okay. All right, but here's the thing about swamps, right? If you've ever been in a swamp, you know that you can step on what you think is solid ground and then find yourself up to your hips in the muck. Things are not always what they seem. Things can be very deceiving. Well, the swamp in Harrisburg is exactly the same way. I'm sure worse than most swamps. So here's what we are now hearing the PA Senate, which is again under Republican control, intends to do. This nomination has now left Dush's governmental committee and is going to the Rules Committee, which is under the chairmanship of Joe Pittman. And then theoretically, it goes to Rules Committee, if they vote it to move it forward, would then send it to the floor, and there would be a vote in broad daylight by the Pennsylvania Senate, which again is under Republican control. But as I noted, in the Senate, they are very upset right now because, good Lord, the citizens are actually watching us and expressing their dismay. So we are hearing that what they intend to do is just let the nomination sit in the Rules Committee and never come up to a vote. Now, what does that mean? Well, here's this provision. There's a provision in the Pennsylvania State Constitution. And what it says is that if you don't act in the legislature on a nomination within 25 days, the nomination is automatically approved. Let me say that again. So when this nomination goes to the Rules Committee, if they just let it sit there, it will automatically be confirmed. There will be an automatic confirmation. Schmidt will become confirmed. He will be confirmed as the Secretary of State without them ever having to vote. And this is apparently, to the best we can determine right now, the precise plan. Because what it will allow these people to do is to confirm Schmidt, to make him the Secretary of State, to put the guy who ran Philly's elections in charge of all of your elections, and then allow them to go home and face their constituents and say, well, I never actually voted for the guy, you see. Classic, absolutely classic Harrisburg. So we are going to pretend that we heard you. We are going to wash our hands of this, in the sense of being able to say later that we didn't vote for him. But we are, in fact, going to confirm him. That is, to the best of our knowledge right now, and we'll keep updating you as we go forward, the exact state of play. Typical Harrisburg gamesmanship. Send this to Rules Committee, let it sit, don't vote on it, tell everybody we didn't vote for it, but knowing full well that the effect of this is we're going to confirm this guy without ever having to stand up on record and tell you where we are, one side or the other. This is about as nasty as it gets. So again, you guys are making a massive impact. You have shaken the PA State Senate to its foundations. Pour it on. What we need is more. So at this stage, the guy who's got this ball as the chairman is Joe Pittman. Okay? His email address is jpittman@pasen.gov. So that's J Pittman with 2 T's. JPITTMAN at pasen.gov. PASEN.gov. You can also obviously go online and find the phone numbers for Pittman's office in Harrisburg, and also find the phone numbers for all of his district offices in his district, which is sort of up north central Pennsylvania. It extends as far over as Westmoreland, I think. Mr. Pittman, Senator Joe Pittman, is the chairman of this committee, where the apparent plan is to send the nomination, and then using this obscure provision of the PA Constitution, effectively approve it without ever having to have the spine to stand up and tell the people where you stand. So what we need is not only communications to say, hey, we see you and we know what the deal is and you're not fooling anybody, but demand that they vote it down. This guy Schmidt is a disaster. This is 180 degrees out from the direction we've been demanding they go. We've been demanding integrity, and now they're going to put the guy who ran Philadelphia elections in charge of all elections for the state of Pennsylvania going into the presidential election cycle. Right? That's what's happening. So you need to let them know right now what the heck you think about that. Thanks, folks. I got to get back on the road and go move on to my next gig. We got patriots all over the state. Take care. I'll talk to you soon.